World. I am Jesse. That is Paul. This is the Lion Redux. We got some feedback from you guys that the first video wasn't quite up to snuff. So here's one that hopefully is. What's up, Paul?
It does make me feel slightly bad. We should probably watch our videos before we throw them into the universe. But we have so much fun doing them. We just all of our brilliance is captured appropriately by the camera and the latency of the internet.
Yeah, actually in China. He's in America. So sometimes things get
America,
harmonized. Um,
yeah.
but we're pushing on. We do this for you, the people. So let's
Yes,
jump into the first guy here.
we don't all do this for our own personal amusement. No, no, it's all for you.
All for you. So Makoto Raikitsu.
Who we like, I think, a lot as just a concept, right? So I don't think he's a very potently powerful card because he's a 2/3 tactician for 6. The numbers are a little on the weekend. You can't leverage duelist at all right now in Lion. I think it's more of a defensive trait. We're definitely seeing a lot more scattered duelists, though. I don't want to spend too much time looking on to the 20 festivals and reading the tea leaves. That's always dangerous. But it was worth noting that like every of the uniques in the 20 festivals holiday pack was a duelist. But he's a tactician with a battle action, and those are pretty rare to come by. And his battle action is okay. It'll generally do the thing you want it to do the least. But he's a fine card, and I like the overall sort of concept of the design, even if I'm not excited about this card individually. He'll be played to fill out line decks if they need another cheaper tactician. Cheaper.
For sure, this guy is costed pretty appropriately, I think. For a long time, tacticians really got soaked on their force stat because you have to
Right.
attack up. So you saw a lot of like six force for one, six force for even zero that were played in gold and diamond. But those times have changed since then, and this is the sort of card that you get. I think he's great. I think that as long, well, let me say this. I think he's aggressively costed for a tactician, provided that there's tactical support moving forward. So when
Right.
festivals rotates, we're going to lose coils. That means the tutor card will be out, Death of the
Yeah.
Winds, and we haven't seen anything like tactical assault or substrat or
Yeah,
um,
it's really interesting. So the cards that you get in tactician are Sono Turns, which is a cancel effect. You saw at Bow cancel. As an interrupt, it's good, but its value is starting to deteriorate as unstoppable becomes a relevant trade.
hmm
And there's Death on the Winds, which is just awesome, but we assume it's going away, right? Like they're probably just gone. It's from this coil. So one of the things they want from rotating is to get rid of coils cards. So that's almost certainly out. And then there's like inspired leadership's invest cost, and like that's it. Like that's what triggers with tactician.
yeah.
So there's not a lot of great value. Now we are starting to see there's a thorough prep reprint in this set, so we're starting to see ways to utilize cards in your discard effectively, and you can always discard your Way of Lion and then use the discipline and stuff like that. So there's ways to make tactician like a value engine, but you have to construct your deck in that way. And right now, I don't have the plethora of tacticians that is really needed to get there. Um, and the battle actually feels like a harpoon action, but it's really not. It's really just a
Mm.
-2 profit swing. So I guess in that sense, this guy's a four tactician for 6, which is good. I would actually caution players to be very careful how they use that battle because I think that people will do weird like not defend, wait for you to try to harpoon in, come in, and then like play a thoughtless sacrifice, and then you'll stare at your sneak attack. I mean, it's not it's not a great harp. It's not a Kudo Hachigaru.
Mm.
It's something much weaker than that. But I like that they're exploring it. I think harpoon fits nicely as the lion mechanic, and I think that if we're going to ever do anything with tactician cards, with tactical cards, you need to have some number of tacticians already formulated into the card base.
Yep. So any sort of lion deck that's looking to go a little more mid range, I think will reach for this guy just because his numbers are solid. Um, but yeah, there's not a ton to say about him. The The fact that his ability is not tactical, that's nice too. Back in the day, that would have
Yep.
been tactical.
So,
So moving on, we've got Akodo Yuyama. I do not like this personality so much, but I do like the art, which is a reference to the classic Wolverine comic where he haunts a Nazi.
yeah, I mean, clearly, yes, I absolutely saw that reference as soon as it was pointed out to me there. Um, yeah, so this is their masked lion. We love Destin cards. We're big fans of Destin cards. So you don't have to. As a rule, you put Destin on like a cheap guy, and we're there. Except this guy's not really that cheap. 5 gold for a 2/2. Like if you're 3 gold, then this guy's in a ton of decks all over the place. If you're full gold, okay. But at 5 gold, the numbers are so bad that scout decks aren't in the interest for this because the force is too low. I don't. I guess honor decks is another 3 PH samurai body, but they have the sense that they don't really have problems generating two guys to play their soul sack cards or whatever. I feels just a little unfulfilled, right? Maybe it was cheaper and they got scared and they pushed it up a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think at 4 gold, this guy would be really pushed. It would go into sort of like the lion decks that you played at Gen Con. So it doesn't have a battle ability, but it draws you a fake card, which is basically a battle ability. But
Yeah.
at 5 for 2/4s, it's a tough sell.
Right, so it's just so it's the opportunity cost of a singular card slot. You have Ikema Chimiko, who's like 3/2 for 5 scout with a -2 force effect. You have the guy that makes the fear 2, but fear 3 if you have a terrain. You have the guy who has their 10 gold invest guy who can like spam the board. There's just all these other options, all these other scout options, all these other scout options who are samurai with PH. Is destined better than any of that? And no, probably not because of the force considerations. So, and there's the flavor thing about Phoenix Clan, whatever. So,
Yeah, well, certainly don't
not
play with your Phoenix.
not a
It's not
bad
worth it for
card.
7 gold. Yeah, not a bad card, not a good card. Just a card that gets kind of caught in the middle. All right, we got Ikema Ayumi.
You should go first because I'm pretty high on her, quite a bit actually.
Yeah, so I don't know that the deck that wants her exists yet. A lion mid-range deck that's playing a lot of 6 and 7 gold cost guys, sort of like the Paragon deck from Emperor Edition. She'd fit great into it. She has all the traits. She she straps up really well. I mean, she just does everything you want her to do. There's not a ton to say because everything you can say about her is really good.
Right. So if this personality was mantis, spider, crane, unicorn, pretty much any other faction that starts with 4 gold or more, everyone would be like, this guy's really good. Naval cavalry, and you can give your follower cavalry,
Yep.
so you can put down your ranged attacky follower or something, and then give it cavalry and put us to the province. And if they try to defend with just one guy, kill them with the naval action. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff that you're doing with this guy. The only reason it doesn't seem overpowered is because we've conditioned ourselves to think of 7 gold personalities in Lion as being just really expensive. Like Lion players, all players think of Lion decks as having 6 gold or less. They don't think of 7 gold cost Lion guys. And if they see a 7 gold cost Lion guy, it has to be the 5 force Paragon with a Symptom effect or something like that. I think we ask a lot to get a 7 gold cost. But right now we have Swana Dojo. We probably won't have Swana Dojo, we think, going forward. That's, I think, pretty fair indication. It doesn't have a bug, and it's such a weird little holding that they're probably going to get rid of. There's a way you can construct a Lion Gold scheme where a 7 gold cost guy isn't actually that much of a reach. And if ever there was a 7 gold cost guy that I wanted to play, this is it. I think that just naval cavalry, give cavalry to my infantry force efficient followers with battle actions. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. And I like that it I'm in the Lion, that's a Lion player. I'm thinking about building a Lion deck. This is a sort of card that makes me say, I'm going to build a whole different kind of Lion deck. I'm going to abandon my previous approach to Lion, away from my Ikuma Shikas and move over to my Ikuma Yumis. And how did Ikuma end up being the go-to family for Lioness Arc? That's pretty interesting to me. But I really like her a lot. I don't think there's a deck there yet, because I don't know if there's enough sort of support mid-range personalities, or if there are, in fact, enough good mid-range faults that I can get her and put the thing on her. But I definitely like this design a lot, and I like this card a lot. So
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. And I was about to mention the same thing that. So let's say I decide to go all in on this. She's gold intensive in more ways than one because she asks for attachments, to leverage the
Right.
naval trait. So I'm playing attachments, I'm playing followers, I'm playing her. What other 6 to 8 gold cost or 5 to 7 gold cost line guys am I playing? And I don't know what the answer to that is yet. I need to go back through
Yeah.
the pool. It's been so long since I just didn't brush off a 7 or 8 gold cost line guy.
It's
But
true.
one thing I've noticed from playing, I've been playing with a lot of 3 gold boxes lately, with my young sensei testing and the Ray sensei testing, is that the decks actually generate gold pretty well. People
Yeah.
really sort of say -1 gold. Okay, this is garbage, and so, it depends on the effect that you get from -1 gold. If like I'm running -1 gold and getting a deck full of guys like this, then okay, you sold me.
So one of the things that changes it is the way gold pooling works with clan holdings, because you can do stuff like first turn copper mine plus deep harbor, and so that's 5 gold potential production off your stronghold on turn 1. So like it's easy to recover from it, right?
For sure. All right, none of these cards are loaded. I apologize for that. So you can
Okay, we've got
Kitsu
Kitsu Suzu.
Suzaki.
So this is I think my favorite personality in the new order is Keppo. I like Keppo quite a lot, but I think this is probably overall the best personality in terms of what it can do and its design. I love this personality. I think it's powerful, but I think there's a lot of application, so we should probably go through them one at a time. I'll start with the obvious, which is that you're building a Lion Honor deck that runs Shugenja. So you reach for Suzaki because she's got high chi, good pH, costed at 5, and then it's just sort of a nice, fun addition. You can just pay 3 gold to gain a 2/2 and gain an honor, right? Like that's pretty neat, right? So that's just, let's say you're just building the deck that is meant to include her, the sort of obvious place for her. She fits in there perfectly well, and so that's step 1, right? What's step 2, Jesse?
Step 2. So I didn't even think that was the obvious deck when I saw her. My immediate thought was, all right, I'm playing Study the Wheel, and I'm playing Benedictions of Air, the new spell that lets me cycle my cards. And I'm going to build a deck that just empties my Dynasty deck as quickly as possible. Excuse me. And then plays her repeatedly because there's a fun interaction with Study the Wheel once your Dynasty deck is empty. That you shuffle her in, but then you don't have sufficient cards. You have 3 cards in your deck, so you immediately deal her out into the province, then Study the Wheel and turn her face back up. So you can make 6 guys a turn.
So you saw this and thought of Infinite Breeder crushing engine of a late game deck of doom. Okay, that's
yeah, absolutely.
Very, very Jimmy of you.
But I think this is a great
Johnny.
card. I think this is perfect design because of how we both approached it.
Right, so
it's a very flexible ability. It's a powerful ability out of just on its own. You get a guy cheap early, gain an honor, shuffle her back in. And you can do that in addition to your proclaim, right? So you proclaim for 3, and then you do this ability, and you get 1 more. And then if your game runs long for some reason, if it's like honor versus dishonor, she's a great engine, and you don't have to study the wheel, but you still get 3 guys a turn and 3 honor a turn to keep you afloat. And then you also have these cool little combo-y type things you can do with it without them being sort of busted over the top, obvious or
no. And of course, what I actually saw when I really read this card, because when you analyze a card, you should always try to think of it in its best possible terms, think of it in worst possible terms, and sort of try to come up with where it's going to fall on the spectrum. I saw this as finally a way for me to take a province on turn 1. Like That's what I really want. I want to go like buy this guy, play Marshall the Strength, add expansive achievement, toss on Inspired Jimbo against like a Mantis deck, and just be like, okay, turn one I take a province, turn two I take a province. What the hell are you doing there, buddy?
Yeah.
So I mean, it can play in multiple phases of the game. It really good early, really good late, a lot of flexibility in the middle. I don't know if you can design a card more just sort of like perfect at any point in a game spectrum than what this guy does. I think this is a really great card. I think it's a really fun card. And there's I won't be if someone produces some sort of like insanely powerful deck with this as the base engine, I won't be at all surprised because it's such a cool card.
For sure. I think design knocked it out of the park with this one. So good job, guys.
Yep. And that just it's easy to make fun of Brian Race and make fun of the sort of board dull cards, but when he reaches, man, he comes up with some big hits.
Well, speaking of making fun of design, let's do it now. Matsu
I
Hachiro, this guy is trash. So we were talking about more expensive guys to fill out a deck with Ikama Ayumi. This is not it.
Yeah, so up until now, the non-unique experienced guys have all been okay, if not great. They've been sort of playable. They've been you could sort of like just talk yourself into them. That there's like decks and ways you could see the line. This guy is just kind of trash. I don't have any idea what I'm supposed to do here. The obnoxious honor rack is sort of unnecessary because he's so prohibitively expensive to begin with, and then his force is just, I mean, it's terrible. Yes, you get a bonus while attacking, but full force for 9 gold isn't some great thing. I guess he's 4 PH if you're trying to do some sort of like sit defensive with force honor deck, but then he's not actually 4 force. He's only 2 force there, so he's terrible. And his action is just a melee 2. I mean, it's melee 2 without buying. Okay, and it's unstoppable and okay, but just seems to be so overpriced for. I mean, I don't know. At 8 gold with an 8 honor requirement, I still probably wouldn't play him, but I could maybe try to fuck myself. This just seems like a huge reach, and I don't like reaching for average to below average cards.
Absolutely. The fact that it's 10 is a big rub-ins. You think, okay, you start 7, you proclaim a 3, but Lion military decks are peppered with some 2s.
Yeah.
Sheikah's a 2, a couple of the other scouts are 2s.
Well, and the I like for the 7 cost, that's a 1. She's a 1. So like
Yeah.
they don't play together in any kind of, yeah, I don't. I think I guess, I mean, Ichiro's thing is it gets a bonus while attacking, so I guess there's a sort of flavor thing. Ichiro was the Go-Eye of Emperor Edition.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a little bit of that, but I don't. I think we could have just given it a straight full force. I don't know. Commander and Paragon aren't traits that mean anything. Scout isn't really a trait that means a whole lot to me on a 9 gold cost guy. So just a swing and a miss. I think what you see here is fear that an unbowing melee attack is like such a like an unstoppable. There's a difference, I think, in what you and I as players perceive the power level of an unstoppable melee 2 attack to be, and what design perceives the power level of a unstoppable melee 2 attack. They've obviously said this is a super powerful effect. It's got to go on a really expensive guy, and we just sort of disagree there.
This is part of a cycle of above starting honor requirement guys. This set,
Yeah.
It could just be that this is their first attempt to sort of play with honor requirements as a costing mechanism, and they haven't really cracked it yet.
And I was really disappointed because I think one of the great unexplored design spaces in the line, but really in all the factions, is guys who cost 7, 8, 9, 10 gold. Like we haven't really. That's a really an unexplored. There's a lot of what does a 5 gold cost lion look like? What does a 6 gold cost crab look like? We know what those cards look like. I had no idea what a 9 gold cost lion personality looks like. There's the 10 gold cost breeder chick, and like that's it. And now I get to finally see a 9 gold cost lion. What I saw was rubbish. This is a 9 gold cost lion guy looks like trash.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say we still don't know what a 9 gold cost lion guy is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
All right, last one. We've got the love letter guy. Love letter. Matsumi Sato. I guess I should say the love letter gal, huh?
They're all female, I think. maybe the monk, the dragon monk.
Nah, I'm the Phoenix guy
Okay, well,
and the
I
Crane
take
guy.
it
You're
all
way
back.
off.
Yeah. Your powers are sufficiently noted. Okay, so there's a one of I mean all the love letter guys have their value. This is the one that I think is a decent enough personality. Well, the other crab one too. So I was trying to make a broader like point in how it relates to love letter versus within factions, but no, because there's no good point to make. It's just a solid card. 2, 3 for 5 doesn't have any great traits, but this is a good battle action. Like forcing your opponent to randomly discard a card and gaining a force bonus is a good battle action. It doesn't seem like it's a very powerful battle action. It doesn't seem like it's very proactive. Because +1 force isn't a lot of force, but the way it can disrupt your opponent's game plan. And I know there's like, well, maybe they'll discard a crappy card and they'll draw an awesome card. Well, maybe they'll discard an awesome card and draw a crappy card. I mean, you can go down that discussion tree, but being able to put confusion and uncertainty into your opponent's defense is good, and gaining information is good. And so I like this battle ability a lot. I don't know if it's good enough to squeeze into a Lion deck because there's a lot of competition at that 5 gold slot like we talked about, but I like Masato, and I think if there ever is a love letter Sensei deck, this is the one that is easiest to try to get discards from your opponent to trigger the affection tokens. So I like Masato. I think Masato is going to see some play and do some work.
Yeah, I mean, I think she slots right into your Gen Con deck. She's a straight upgrade.
Not really anymore, actually. That slot is pretty filled up at 5, but I'm with you.
Well, she's a 4/4. She's pretty much a printed 4 because you can always use her ability in battle. She's 3 PH for the box, which isn't for nothing. And yeah, so to me, what the most, and I had this same sort of commentary with the crab chick. The most important thing about these types of discard effects is that it forces your opponent to play his actions in a slightly different order than normally he would. So that
Right.
if you're attacking if you're in a battle and he's got some really bomb fade actions, typically what he would do is hold them as long as he could to sort of see where the battle falls and then play his high impact actions last after he's done his small incremental
Right.
onboard
You try to.
advantages.
It's very common. Players try to save their most powerful card for like the best moment, right?
And this sort of forces you to play them out quickly because if you have 2 of this girl or 3 of this girl and you're attacking and you have 3 or 4 cards in your hand, are you really going to hang on to that deliberations until the last minute? Like, can you afford to, or is she going to hit it? So it sort of forces you to run your stuff out right away. And
Yeah, if you try to open with your weaker actions, and then then not only is the card still in your hand, but you actually have less cards, so you're more likely to hit the card. And I mean, because it does it. I hate to use this word because we've used it ironically sometimes. It subtly impacts the flow of the interaction of battle, and I think that's really neat.
yeah, I like it a lot. I don't think it's subtle at all, but I really like it. It can strand their onboard abilities too. Like, you have one of these, so he has to play his big bomb, and then he doesn't take one of his marginal actions. You kill the guy, and he loses like a -2 force. These sorts of things matter.
Yep.
Generating that sort of incremental advantage over the course of a battle is what separates, guys like us from guys like Case. So cards like this
Sure.
are great. I think this is another home run, slam dunk, mixed sports
Yeah.
metaphor card, and I'm all about it. I'll be playing in tons of decks.
And that is the last. So I think Lion came out just really well this set. I mean, I feel like the 4 cards that we're very pleased with, sort of high on. One of which is awesome, another of which I want to really build a deck around and I think could be awesome. So really just the incredibly just pothole of the 9 gold cost guy and then the sort of ball-boring Destin guy. But I mean, I think Lion is probably the winner. I mean, Crane always is the winner because they're Crane, but I think Lion really came out quite well here.
Absolutely, two build arounds and 2 role players is nothing to sneeze at.
Yep.
All right, guys. I think that's been enough talk. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Hope you can listen to it, I guess, is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, no kidding. So we'll catch you guys later.
Hang loose.